It's a model of mechanical mastery, an original amidst a sea of imitations, and perhaps the purest driver's car Mercedes-AMG has ever produced. While not a direct descendant of the SLS, the AMG GT is its closest living relative. Seductively sculpted lines and elegantly edgy proportions recall not only the SLS, but other iconic Mercedes-Benz sports cars dating back nearly half a century. The long hood, short deck, functional side vents, and retractable rear spoiler produce a look so special that it spawned a new hyphenated subdivision dubbed Mercedes-AMG. Aluminum is used for most of the chassis and adjoining suspension components in an effort to keep weight down and rigidity up, though it still tips the scales at a rather portly 3,600 pounds. Additional stiffening measures include optional dynamic engine and transmission mounts, a multitude of chassis braces, and the 3-mode electronically controlled suspension in GTS models. Thankfully, this flexophobic philosophy won't also require you to put your chiropractor's kids through college. One of the harshest criticisms leveled against AMG models of yore was that on typical American roadways, the ride quality was positively punishing. This is totally livable. You're not going to compress a vertebrae, you're not going to forget how to do math. It's just a daily drivable, civilized supercar, when you want it to be. Now on the track, virtually everywhere the SLS failed, the AMG GT succeeds. First and foremost is in the area of oversteer. It's when the rear tires lose traction before the front, and while drifters make it look pretty cool, it's not the right way to set fast laps. For instance, through Willow Springs' infamous Turn 8, practically every AMG model I've ever driven, and I've driven quite a few, wants to step out the moment you add about 50% throttle. The AMG GT is having none of it. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 finally begins to step out. As you unwind the steering wheel and open it up, it's a hell of a thing. Longitudinal G-forces come courtesy of a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that puts out 456 horsepower in the GT and 503 horsepower in the GTS. In this day and age, when you can purchase a 600-plus horsepower sports car for under $80,000, the GTS's 3.7 second 0 to 60 sprint and 193 mile-an-hour top speed might seem a bit underwhelming to discerning Vin Diesel types. But the real story here is the way in which the GT and GTS deliver their power. A torque arrives before you even reach the 2,000 RPM mark. Power continues to surge in such a dramatic, yet orderly manner that additional thrust would almost certainly upset the harmonious balance of the car. Of course, Mercedes-Benz is a business operation, and customers who can't help but play the numbers game can soon spring for the limited edition GTR variant. No, not that one. Boasting an overabundance of power and additional active aero bits for a lot more money. And now, back to the powertrain. But more often than not, there's a delay between the time you depress the paddle shifter and when the mechanical shift occurs. Not so with the AMG GT. The moment you depress the paddle, the gear shift occurs. In terms of braking, while the pedal feel isn't quite as linear as a 911, stopping power is absolutely tremendous. Regarding the matter of survivability, we've done, 20, 25 fairly hard laps in 102-degree heat, and the Merc just keeps asking for more. Then again, we did detect some intermittent shuddering when accelerating slowly from a stop. So unless you activate launch control at every stoplight, this could get irritating after a while. Minor herky-jerkiness aside, the AMG GT performs unexpectedly well as a daily driver. Interior noise levels are on par with those of the Porsche 911, outward visibility is good until you need to back out of a parking space, and fuel economy hovered around 23 mpg over 130 miles of highway driving. There's also a reasonable amount of storage space throughout the cabin, complemented by a nifty liftback design that lets you toss items into the trunk from the front seats. Despite being a bit firm for our taste, the seats do an admirable job of holding you in place during spirited driving thanks to power-adjustable leg and side bolsters. Nestled between the seats is a unique yet minimally functional center console designed to resemble the layout of a V8 engine. Explore the space, and you can alter things like drive modes, suspension firmness, and exhaust volume. To keep it competitive against rivals like the Audi R8, Jaguar F-Type R, and high-end Porsche 911 models, the Mercedes-AMG GTS opens just north of $130,000, with the standard version checking in right around $110,000. Standard fare consists of heated AMG performance seats wrapped in Nappa leather, keyless access and start, 8 airbags, navigation with an 8.4-inch display and audio by Burmester, full LED headlights with automatic high beams, and adaptive cruise control. Notable options include a widened power band for race situations, matte carbon fiber interior trim, and the choice of 6 staggered wheel options. All that said, undoubtedly the coolest aspect of the AMG GT is that many high horsepower sports cars serve as great barroom number generators and are quite exciting in a straight line, but regardless of your skill level, they're kind of a handful on the racetrack. This, on the other hand, is just flat out fun.